It is a profound honor to stand before you today. I want to share a truth that is simple yet incredibly powerful. Sometimes in life, we feel lost. We feel as though the world has shifted beneath our feet, as if our purpose is hidden behind a fog we cannot see through. And in those moments, when life seems uncertain, when hope seems distant, it's easy to believe that nobody cares, that the universe has left us alone to wander. But the reality is far from that. God cares about you. He sees you. He notices every tear, every hesitation, every sleepless night, every question that weighs heavy on your heart. And today, I want to share a journey with you, a journey that begins with a single question that can transform your life forever. Now, as we dive in, I want to outline 4 keynotes that will guide our conversation, 4 pillars to help you navigate your life when you feel lost. Keynote No. 1. The moment you ask for guidance changes everything. Keynote No. 2. Faith is not blind, it's courage in action. Keynote No. 3. Every struggle has a hidden gift. Keynote No. 4. Your small steps lead to monumental change. Let's begin with our first keynote, because it's the heartbeat of everything that follows. The moment you ask for guidance changes everything. Imagine yourself standing at a crossroads. Not a literal one, but the crossroads of your life. You've tried to move forward, you've made plans, you've worked hard, yet somehow the answers never seem to come. You've felt the weight of confusion pressing down on your shoulders, that whisper in your mind asking, am I on the right path? Will I ever find my purpose? Now, in this moment, many people pause, some even stop altogether. They continue walking in circles, hoping that eventually, the fog will lift on its own. But here's the truth that changed my own life: the fog only lifts when you take the bold step to ask. To ask for guidance, to ask for clarity, to ask for help. This is where transformation begins. You see, life is not a random sequence of events. There is an order, a pattern, a divine intelligence that is always working for your good. But just like a ship on a dark ocean, you can have the most sophisticated vessel, the most brilliant crew, and the finest instruments, yet if you do not have the lighthouse to guide you, you will drift aimlessly. That lighthouse, my friends, is the act of asking. When you muster the courage to ask for guidance, whether it is from God, from a mentor, or from your own inner wisdom, you activate a force far greater than yourself. It's the same principle as planting a seed in fertile soil. The seed alone cannot grow. It needs sunlight, water, nourishment, and the right conditions. Asking is sunlight. Asking is opening yourself to the nourishment of insight, support, and direction. It is the moment you admit, I cannot do this alone, and in that admission, you unleash a current of possibility. Let me tell you something that Jim Rohn always emphasized: it is not what happens to us that shapes our destiny, but how we respond to it. And asking for guidance is the ultimate response. It's saying, I refuse to be paralyzed by confusion. I refuse to wander aimlessly. I am willing to seek wisdom. And when you do, the universe begins to conspire in ways you cannot yet imagine. Doors you never noticed start to appear, opportunities that seemed distant come into view, and most importantly, you feel a shift within yourself. The heaviness of uncertainty begins to lift because you have taken ownership of your life. Asking is not a sign of weakness, it is a declaration of strength. It is the recognition that your life is too valuable, too precious, to be left to chance. Consider the power of prayer, or simply the act of asking in silence, in honesty, in full vulnerability. It's a conversation that transcends fear. When you ask, you are connecting with a source of infinite wisdom and infinite care. You are aligning yourself with the rhythm of life, and in that alignment, miracles begin to happen. Miracles do not always arrive in dramatic ways, they often arrive subtly, through new ideas, through unexpected support, through a clarity of thought that was previously absent. But they always arrive when you take that first step to ask. I want you to imagine a time in your own life, perhaps a moment you felt completely lost. Picture that moment vividly. Feel the uncertainty, the fear, the frustration. And now, imagine yourself daring to ask. Maybe it was asking God for guidance, maybe it was asking a friend or a mentor, maybe it was asking your own inner self for clarity. Notice the shift that occurs. There is a lightness that comes from no longer carrying the burden alone. There is a subtle but undeniable confidence that grows in you, because you have taken the first courageous step toward direction. Here's another secret: when you ask, the answer may not come immediately. Sometimes it takes days, weeks, or even months. But the act of asking sets in motion a process that you cannot reverse. You have opened the door. You have planted the seed. And with patience, trust, and consistent action, what seemed impossible begins to materialize. That is the power of the moment you ask. It is a small act, but its ripple effect can change the trajectory of your entire life. And perhaps most importantly, when you ask, you are not just seeking guidance for yourself, you are signaling to the world that you are ready. You are showing that you are willing to receive, to learn, to grow, to take responsibility for your life. And when you do that, opportunities begin to find you. People who were meant to mentor you appear. Experiences that were meant to teach you arrive. Challenges that were meant to strengthen you cross your path. Life begins to respond to your courage, because asking is an act of faith. It is saying, I trust that help is available, and I am willing to step forward. Now we come to the second pillar, and this one may be the most important lesson you need to understand. Faith is not blind. It is not a passive hope or a naive belief. Faith is courage in action. It is the courage to take the next step, even when the path ahead is unclear, even when circumstances seem impossible. Many people mistakenly believe that having faith means blindly accepting everything, or surrendering completely to life's uncertainties. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Faith means that you acknowledge that challenges will come, failures will occur, obstacles will appear, but you make a decision that fear will not stop you, that no matter what, you will keep moving forward. Let me share a story with you, a story that illustrates this perfectly. There was a person, a young man, whose life felt completely lost. Every path he took seemed to lead to failure. Every plan he made crumbled. Every door he knocked on remained closed. Night after night, he wrestled with uncertainty. Day after day, he felt stuck, frustrated, unsure of his direction. But then a moment came, a single moment that changed everything. He decided, I will not let fear paralyze me. I will not give up. I will take the next step, however small, with courage. That step, my friends, was faith in action. You see, faith is not about seeing everything clearly before moving. It's about seeing enough to take action. It's about acknowledging the unknown but still choosing to move forward. When you act in faith, you confront your inner fears. You say to yourself, I cannot control everything around me, but I can control my response. I can control my courage. I can control my effort. That, my friends, is what separates successful people from the rest of the world. Jim Rohn always said, success is not what happens to us, it is how we respond to what happens. And this applies to faith as well. Faith does not mean you will always be ready for every challenge. Faith means you decide that you will meet every challenge with courage, no matter how difficult the circumstances. When you step forward in faith, you keep moving even when fear is present. That is true courage. Now, picture this. Imagine standing at the edge of a high cliff. Below you is a valley. The path is foggy. Every step seems dangerous. Most people would hesitate, retreat, or refuse to move. But the person who steps forward with faith sees the cliff not as an obstacle, but as a challenge to overcome. They trust that every step will bring them closer to the summit, even if the way is unclear. They trust that life will support their efforts. That support may not always be obvious, it may appear subtly, through ideas, through people, or through opportunities. Sometimes, it manifests as an inner strength that rises up within the heart. But it always appears when faith guides action. Faith and courage are inseparable. Can you move forward with faith alone? No, because fear will hold you back. Can you move forward with courage alone? Perhaps, but that movement may be aimless, uncertain, and often unsuccessful. But when faith and courage are combined, your steps gain clarity, your heart gains confidence, and your life begins to transform. You cultivate a deep belief that anything is possible, and that belief is what fuels lasting change. Consider the story of a young man who felt completely lost in life. He had finished his education, but no opportunity presented itself. Every job application failed. Every door seemed closed. Yet he held on to faith, and he found the courage to take small steps every single day. He worked an extra hour, seized every small chance, and learned from every setback. Eventually, an opportunity arose, one he had never imagined before. That opportunity was the result of his faith and his courage combined. Today, he is successful, and he knows without a doubt that it was because he refused to let fear dominate him, because he stepped forward in faith. Faith is not blind, it is action-oriented. When you step forward in faith, you make a commitment with life itself. I will do my best. I will not let fear stop me. I will learn from every challenge. This type of faith gives you strength, peace, and the courage to face any difficult moment as though a light is guiding you. Now, think about it. If today, in this very moment, you decide to move forward with faith, to take courageous action even in the face of fear, how different would your life look? You would see every setback not as defeat, but as a lesson. You would see every obstacle not as a dead end, but as a challenge to grow. And most importantly, you would understand that God cares about you, that you are never alone, and that every step you take with faith and courage is leading you closer to the path you were meant to follow.